away. Hopefully. Never know with YouTube sometimes. Let's have a look on the main channel. There's Open Tier 1 running, and there is the Elite Series stream running as well. Audio is working as it should be. The stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. That is absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 10 of the PlayStation Elite Series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm LaneEveringham, your lead commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. A wet Mexican Grand Prix at that. Constructed in 1959 within the nation's capital, Mexico City. The circuit has been hosting Formula One Grand Prix since 1963 and was redesigned into its current form in 2015. The modern-day circuit measures up at 4.3 kilometers and consists of 17 corners and 3 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1, Turn 4 and Turn 12. The main features of the circuit include the 1.2 kilometer long main straight, which provide great slipstream battles heading towards Turn 1, the high-speed S section formed by Turn 7 through 11, which typically proves to be the hardest part of the circuit, and finally the arena section in the third sector. It's a tight section where drivers need to be careful with throttle modulation, especially in these traction-limited race cars, as well as these wet weather conditions. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Austin. Now, there were 3 incident reports for the stewards to look at the end of the US Grand Prix. And from those reports, all of them came with a no further action result. That means the final finishing positions stand from last week's race. In the Drivers' Championship, Marcus Costa is leading the way on 224 points, followed by F1 Ferrari Pro on 178. 46 points separate the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship right now, and Silverfoot, he's a fair way behind the top 2. He's P3 in the standings on 139 points. He's 85 behind Marcus and 39 behind Ferrari Pro. To try and reinvigorate his championship chances, he needs both drivers to get into trouble here in Mexico City. Bags Liddell is 4th on 129, just 10 points behind Silverfoot, followed by Plevs on 124. Spicy and ACW are P6 and P7. Spicy on 111 points, followed by ACW on 105. Vengeance is P8 on 89 points, followed by Pump on 83, and Hillez rounds out the top 10 as he makes his way back into pit lane on 76 points. In the Constructors, Williams are leading on 313, followed by Ferrari on 217. Almost a 100-point gap between Williams and Ferrari in the Constructors. They well and truly have a stranglehold over the championship. Mercedes are just 1 point behind Ferrari, so the battle's on for P2, and McLaren are in that fight as well. They're on 207 points, just 10 points behind Ferrari. Aston Martin, they're there or thereabouts. They're on 173 in 5th place, and Rebel Racing are just behind as well on 161 points. Completing the table, we have AlphaTauri on 117, Haas on 105, Alpine on 49. Yeah, that's quite a big jump from P8 to P9. And at the bottom of the table, we have Alfa Romeo on 26 points. That's pretty much all the news out of the way. I can now introduce my co-commentator for tonight, who is once again KD1997. KD, you have seen some success here in Mexico City, and you were once a pad user, where famously pad users don't do too well here, but you've transitioned to the wheel. How do you feel around this circuit on the wheel?
On the wheel, it's a lot different, but it's better in a sense because of mainly going through the S section. Because in this game, which is not correct in a sense, because it's because I say not correct because in this game it's more faster. In the real life, it's a bit more tighter sort of section in a sense in that S section. But in the game though, on the wheel, it's easier, it's much better, but yeah, on a pad, it's pretty much pain, is one word to describe it. It's absolute pain. Especially with these cars now being easy to bottom out, the curbs are quite taller, for these sort of cars. So if you get on those curbs, you could get stuck and you end up having a meet and greet with a barrier, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, you got to be very careful. And of course, with this sort of track, I mean, you've said this past, I've said this in the past in commentary as well, that you need a balanced setup, but of course for the straight line speed, but of course for cornering as well.
No, I completely agree. As Pump jumps up to the top with a 29.4. Yeah, I've infamously had a great hatred over this racetrack. I find it a sort of well, put it politely, a tricky circuit to get right. There's so many unique areas where car setup is going to play a big factor. Like, you can run lower wings and that will maximize top speed down the main straight and after the chicane at turns 1, 2, 3. You can run higher downforce, which is better in these conditions as Costa jumps up to the top with a 28.7. You can run a car that's very stable in terms of cornering ability, which is great through the high speed stuff. You need a stable car through there. But through the tighter stuff, like where Marvelant is going through now, and through the arena section in particular, you need a car that turns on a swivel very, very quickly. So you need a lot of intricate stuff out of the setup, and you could run high wings, which will give you better performance during qualifying, but you'll be quite compromised in the race. It's been a similar story with the past few events that we've done, like at Suzuka, at Silverstone, at Kota, where you could run higher wings and be successful, or you can run lower wings and be successful. It's really up to your own preference. But
agreed. Especially with these cars now, because apparently for whatever reason, it seems like in any track you go to, apparently low wings is what you apparently need, because if you don't have that, you're basically a sitting duck.
Yep,
at this at that point.
Oh, it's Pado's having a great time coming out of turn 3. He was sideways, then he caught it, then he was sideways again, and then he caught it, coming out to the right-hander. But he kept it out of the barrier, which is the most important thing of all, as he's making his way out of turn 5 and around the hairpin of turn 6. Doesn't appear to be using any battery. Will he switch it on here? Yes, he does. I think he was conserving battery through that section, which isn't a bad idea through the tighter stuff in these conditions. Like, these cars, as I've said already, and as we've seen throughout this season, they're so traction limited under acceleration. Like, the car can just step out on you in an instant. So sometimes switching off the battery through those tight sections where you need to be very careful on the throttle might actually find you a little bit of time, because it's a lot easier to deal with an engine going off its natural power rather than the natural power plus the hybrid power from the electric part of the engine.
Oh,
yeah, Pato had a moment and a half there, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I was watching his onboard. Spicy ever did the exact same thing. I was watching him for a bit before he went on to Pato. He had some moments coming out of that faltered as well, as he does the exact same thing as I watched him earlier, having a bit of snaps of oversteer. But he goes 6th quickest overall.
Hello, Curving. Nice to see you in the chat as well. The
Curving.
Wexican Grand Prix. I agree. That's probably not a bad way to describe it. The Wexican Grand Prix. I like it. Bags of Dell jumps up to P10 just behind his teammate. We've got yellows out, cars just going slowly, trying to get out of the other driver's way. Still got a few drivers yet to set lap times, which is another characteristic around this racetrack. Particularly in dry qualifying, where you see drivers properly send it, you see a lot of warnings being dished out in quali, especially through that S section, when drivers fully abuse the limits of the racetrack. I've seen on many, many occasions several drivers just not being able to put a valid lap together as Nick puts it into the wall at the exit of the final turn, destroying his front wing. But he sets a valid lap time of 31.1.
Well, that is, you're going to have to do an entire lap with that destroyed front wing.
Yeah. Hello, Gav, as well, in the chat. Nice to see you.
But yeah, a bit of a long lap on these sort of conditions.
I agree.
Too, with his front wing.
But, fortunately, with just under 9 minutes left in quali, as Roscoe Arms sets a 29.7, He should have plenty of time to get back into the pits and set another lap as Spicy jumps up to pole position with a 28.4. ACW getting ready to set a flying lap. So is Marcus Costa. Who shall we ride on board? Maybe ACW. He's ahead on track, I believe. No, it's Costa ahead on track.
It's Marcus, yeah.
Right on board then with our championship leader. Give you a guided tour of this 4.3 kilometre racetrack. Down the main straightaway, this is where you would open DRS. There's obviously no DRS. Weather conditions, not allowed to use it. Up towards turn 1, seeing a peak speed just under 320 kilometres an hour. Hard on the brakes, bringing it down to third gear. Nice and steady around turn 1. Nice and steady around turn 2. Avoiding those orange sausage curbs. Just using the red and white. Getting nice traction out of turn 3 as well. As he heads down the second straightaway into turn 4. Another one of the better overtaking spots on the circuit after turn 1. Third gear on the exit. Keeps it in third around turn 5. You can see how gentle he's trying to be as he heads around the hairpin of turn 6. Short shifting up to fourth gear. Getting off the curb as soon as possible. And down into turn 7. The beginning of the S's. Through the left-hander. Into the right-hander of turn 8. Around turn 9. And up towards turns 10 and 11. You can see how much he's trying to cut. Cut too much there, I'm afraid. At turn 10, invalidating his flying lap. ACW has not done that. At the exit of turn 11, we're right on board with him to complete the lap. Into turn 12, a potential overtaking spot, especially if you get a run through the S section. Up towards the tight hairpin of turn 13, and into this little tricky section of turns 14 and 15. Up towards turn 16, the penultimate turn on the racetrack, and around the tricky final corner, turn 17. You have to be so careful on the throttle, as ACW is demonstrating, but he improves by 900ths of a second. Stays P4, though, with a 28.966.
Not too bad, but yeah, of course, I've been seeing a lot of drivers just skidding too much around this final corner, though. Both Mercs I've been watching have been doing that. I'm guessing probably, I don't know, maybe this is a slight suspicion, but maybe they're using a dry setup. Maybe it'll be dry conditions when we get to the race, but that's just a guess.
I think that's a fair prediction as well, because yeah, these cars do not look stable at all in these sorts of conditions. They are skating left and right. Drivers are desperately trying to find whatever traction is available to them, as BP to the middle sector will set a 1 minute 4.6. He's up by almost a second to the middle sector. He's looking at a high 27 as Pump jumps up to P2 with a 28.6 as he goes around the penultimate corner on the racetrack and up towards the final turn, sliding out of 16, up towards the line for BP. It is a 27.6.
Maybe the indication is that the conditions are starting to slightly improve a little bit.
I agree. I'm predicting that we're going to see the times tumble. Either that or it's one mega lap.
ACW. Gee whiz, he was skating all over about in that final turn yet again. Both was, yeah, like I said, both Mercs have been not liking that final turn at all. Yeah, in these sort of conditions.
I believe G4 Zach has just run out of fuel, I think. No, he's just travelling slowly. That's what he's doing. There was no red fuel indicator on the telemetry, so he has got fuel in the car.
Well, he has gone for a flick spin, is what he's done too.
He's giving the Mexican fans a show, I suppose, in the arena. So.
Yeah. You're in the stadium, why not give him a show?
That's it. As Plebs heads up to the first sector split, he's up by a monstrous 0.8 of a second. Okay, yeah, the conditions are improving, I feel. The conditions are definitely improving.
Frypar also jumped up to P2 with a 27.897.
Yeah, just off BP's time, so yeah, the conditions are getting better out there. So timing is going to be crucial right at the end of the session. You want to time it as late as possible to get the best conditions possible during the end of qualifying. It'll be very interesting to see who can time it absolutely spot on, as Plebs is now up by 1 second to the middle sector. He's looking at a high 28. Can he find any more time here in the final part of the lap? Around turn 13, through 14 and 15, you can see being very, very careful on the accelerator, never reaching full throttle. Around the final corner, he's at sort of 60-70% throttle, and then he eventually reaches full throttle and jumps up to P4 with a 28.5. So he did find a little bit more time in the final sector, but the majority of time that he found was in the first. He found almost a second in the first sector.
And those yellows, that's for Vengeance. Looks like getting out of the way of a couple of cars. I see.
Vengeance. It appears that he might be trying to cool down a little bit, try and recharge. Yeah, you can see he's carrying the throttle and the brake at the same time. You can see on the telemetry. He's trying to restore the battery. That's what he's doing. Because obviously how the battery restores itself is through braking. It's through the kinetic energy recovered from braking. So, yeah, you can see at about 80% throttle, and he's carrying about 20% brake, and he's recharging that battery. It's very smart. Yeah, and it sort of reaffirms the idea. It's really tough to recover battery in this game, and you have to do silly things like that to try and get it back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's much more trickier with these sort of cars, which for whatever reason it is, but it is.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just the directions Cody's took it. I don't know. I can't be bothered asking anymore. I don't care enough.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because this game really makes me feel that way too.
Peak speeds we're seeing here from Vengeance are over 220 kilometers an hour as he barrels into turn 1. Third gear, back on the accelerator as he makes his way through turns 2 and 3. Yellow flags are out, but I did catch we got just under 2 minutes left in this qualifying session. So we're at the business end, the pointy end of qualifying as Vengeance heads up to the first sector split. He's down overall by quite a bit as well, by 0.3 of a second. Is he going to bother pushing for the rest of this lap? It appears like he is as he makes his way around turn 6. Nice and steady from the Williams driver. Oh, poor exit though. Very sideways on the exit. Probably cost him a little bit of time. His teammate Marcus Costa is up by half a second, I believe, to the middle sector as he makes his way around the penultimate turn at turn 16 and around the final corner, turn 17. He'll cross the line to set a 28.1, goes P3 with that lap, improving by 6.5 tenths. BP, meanwhile, has invalidated this run. That's okay. He's on an out lap. He's getting ready to set what will be his final flying lap attempt in this qualifying session. Ferrari Pro's making his way through the middle sector as well. He's getting ready to set his final run. Ples has invalidated this lap. He's going to be running short on time to get one more run in. Spicy's up by 0.2 of a second through the middle sector. Makes his way around the final corner sideways, crosses the line, jumps to P2, improving by 0.6 to set a 27.882. What about his teammate ACW? He's up by only 28 thousandths to the first sector. What about BP? No, he's invalidated this run as well. And he was up by 1.7 seconds. I'm guessing he must have cut turn 2 or something. So his final run is done. That's the benchmark for people to be a 27.6.
Marcus, meanwhile, is up by 3.5 tenths with the middle sector, but he's got a car in front of him. Oh, I don't know if that's going to... It might cost him time.
Now, is that Marvelant or Keegs, KD? What do you reckon?
Good. That's a good question. It's Keegs. He's on wedge, too. Oh, he's costing time. Oh, no.
Costa, in his frustration...
Goes into the pits. Oh dear. He was up by Nope. He was up by 3.5 tenths. He would have challenged for pole if that wouldn't have happened. That's unfortunate. But Spicy's up by 4 tenths to the middle sector.
That's definitely challengeable for pole. Now.
Yep.
Nice and steady from Spicy, keeping that car nice and stable underneath the grandstands. And out of the penultimate turn, around the final corner, can Spicy challenge for pole? He crosses the line and does indeed go to pole position with a 27.461, beating BP's time by just under 0.2 of a second. Ferrari Pro, his session is done. He moves into pit lane. The best he can do is third fastest at the end of qualifying. Hillers is up by a little bit to the middle sector. Sideways, though, losing control.
Geez.
Smashes it into the wall and retires. Out of qualifying.
Just like that. Goodness me. Yeah. And Pro, he wouldn't have improved anyway, because he was down by like 4/10 in the middle sector, too. So
I see.
it was done anyway.
There we are. It's Spicy who will line up on pole position for this Mexican Grand Prix. Putting a very nice lap together right at the death of qualifying. A 1 minute 27.460, beating a 1 minute 27.650. Just under 0.2 of a second separating the top two at the end of this wet weather qualifying session. BP, he would ultimately have to settle for second. Ferrari Pro in third. Costa in probably not so happy fourth place, followed by Plebs in fifth and ACW's P6. Pump 7, Vengeance 8th, Bags in 9th, and Hillez rounds out the top 10. Marvel in P11, followed by G4 Zach. Roscoe on P13, followed by Pato, Nick, Whitey, and Keegs will start from the very back in 17th position. Now let's see if our prediction's right. Is it going to be a dry weather race here in Mexico?
Only one way to find out. But that's what it looked like to me. It was just dry setups that everyone had on, just from how the car behaved. I wouldn't be, maybe I wouldn't say surprised. Maybe I wouldn't be too shocked.
Well,
okay, well there you go.
It's dry for the start, but as you can see, there are clouds, dark clouds at that, hovering around the racetrack. So I think the drivers will be praying that rain stays away. But for now, for the start of this Grand Prix, it's dry. It'll be interesting to see who starts on what tyre, because traditionally here in Mexico, it's been a two-stop race. A soft, medium, soft, or some kind of variation of that. But as we've seen in this game, the tyre strategies have changed dramatically. Basically, every racetrack now is either medium hard or hard medium. So, I wonder what the drivers will start on for this event.
I say most of them will go to hard tyre.
That seems to be a very common trend, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Watch me be right and be like every one on the grid be on on hard tyres. Let's see.
Almost everybody.
Oh, I was too off. Too off.
So, a quick rundown of the grid. Spicy, BP, Ferrari Pro, Costa, Plevs, ACW, Pump, Vengeance, Bags Adele, Hillez, Marvelant, and G-Force Zach. The top 12, they're all starting on the hard compound tyre. Then Roscoe Arm decides to buck the trend, and he's going to start on the medium compound tyre down in P13. It means that he needs to be quite aggressive here at the start and try and make moves early and then compensate later on in the race. G-Force Pato, his teammate, is starting on the hard compound tyre. Nick in P15 is starting on the hard compound tyre. Whitey's following Roscoe Arm. He's on the mediums. And Keeg, starting from the back, is on the hard tyre. So we've got 15 on the hards and 2 on the mediums. That's it. Probably get rid of that tyre graphic then. We do not need it for the start of this race at all. Pretty much everybody is on the same strategy. So
Same predictable strategy.
yeah, it's really quite unfortunate with this game that the strategies now become incredibly predictable. I mean, in seasons past, especially here at Mexico, it's always been an interesting strategy game. Because it used to be a very good two-stop racetrack. It was a bit like Montreal as well, but that's thanks to the incredibly short pit lane at Montreal. You could get away with a two-stop. But here at Mexico, it was down to the soft tyre just being so much faster than the mediums and the hards. It was like 2 seconds a lap faster. Something ridiculous like that. And it always created interesting strategy races. Here, though, in this game, yeah, we don't get that same interest. Unfortunately, the soft tyre is just quite frankly useless.
And it's everywhere. It's useless, unfortunately, too.
Pretty much, yeah. There's not too many racetracks where you can actually use a soft tyre in a race situation. Right, All 17 cars are now lined up, ready to race for the start of this event. We've got 5 red lights. And we're underway here in Mexico City. It's a nice start from Ferrari Pro in P3. But who's leading the drag race down to turn 1? It appears to be BP. He has the inside line heading towards the opening right-hander as the field scrambles all over the place to try and find a bit of racetrack to race on. Down the inside, Costa looks, but cannot commit to the move. Spicy hangs on to P2, but it's BP who leads out of the opening chicane. Spicy second, Costa and Ferrari Pro, the top 2 in the championship, battling for P3 on track. Ferrari Pro has the inside line heading into the left-hander, dives it in deep, tries to get in front, but Costa fights back at turn 5. They're side by side coming out of the corner, now into turn 6. Costa with the inside line is able to get his car in front and hangs on to 3rd place. Plevs just hovering behind in 5th, followed by Bags Liddell in 6th. Then we got HCW, Vengeance, Pump and Hillez rounding out the top 10. But all in all, a pretty good start from everyone, I'd say.
Tameable, at least. That's the main thing. Which is something you don't normally see in a Mexican Grand Prix online race. But fair credit to the lads. Great job to at least get through the first bit of lap. At least for now, get through the first bit of the lap.
That's right. We don't want to speak too soon, of course. Because as we've seen it before, we can get through the opening lap and then, everything hits the fan after that.
Yeah.
Hopefully all these guys keep it together. Spicy's on the attack though, sitting in the slipstream, heading towards turn 1. Gaining little by little, but not enough to attack the Haas into the opening corner. Should note as well, Roscoe didn't get the start he was looking for. Now down in 14th position. He's down 2 places, I believe. 1 place. So yeah, not the start that he was looking for. Whitey's made up a few places, which he needed to, being on the medium compound tyre. You need to make full use of the tyre right now. As Pato and Marvelin battle for position, so is Whitey and Roscoe, the 2 medium runners, as they head around turn 5, up towards turn 6. Roscoe fighting around the outside, and he's keeping that fight alive to his credit, heading towards the S section now. They're still dueling for position, but eventually Roscoe gets in front. Yellow flags are at its key, spinning out at the exit of the hairpin. I think he hit the wall. Yes, there's debris next to the Crypto.com wall. So he's missing an end plate on the left-hand side. You'll have to pit and get that fixed, I'm afraid.
Yep, and he's got no other hearts to fall back on because you got that only set.
Yeah.
So he has to go to the mediums, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a big ouch.
Again, with the lack of tyre compounds, or sort of variety in tyre compounds, it makes races quite dull. Like, he can't just 2-stop and go medium like you could in the past. Now you have to do a lengthy stint on the medium tyre and then probably move back onto the hards that you started on. Like, it's just kind of dull from that point of view. He really has to pray for a safety car at this point. So, now...
Yeah.
Spicy hasn't made any inroads on BP just yet. It appears that the Haas has got some pretty decent straight line speed. Even in the slipstream, Spicy is not able to get by. With DRS, of course, that's going to change things up quite dramatically. But for now, Spicy, he's stuck behind BP. Marcus hovering behind, so is Ferrari Pro. A little bit of a gap between Plevs and Ferrari Pro. Plevs needs to make sure he doesn't increase that gap to 1 second. And he's done a pretty solid middle sector, it would seem. He's gained a couple of tenths as they head into turn 12. Up towards the hairpin of turn 13. We'll see the field bunch up through this section as they snake through the arena and up towards the final 2 corners. Now Spicy, he will get DRS down the main straightaway, and here's a massive benefit. If you can make the pass work at turn 1, you will also get DRS after turn 3. It's quite ridiculously powerful in this game. DRS here in Mexico, it's proven to be very powerful in the past as well. But yes, there's no DRS detection zone between turn 1 and turn 3. There's nothing. And that's because of a real-life phenomenon. Because with Mexico City and the racetrack here at Hermanos Rodriguez, it's actually the tallest Grand Prix on the calendar. Sits 2 kilometers above sea level. And as a result, the air is very, very thin here. As a result, the cars don't produce much drag. So the drag reduction system isn't incredibly powerful. So there's no need to have a DRS detection zone in between turns 1 and 3.
Well, I was watching Spicy. Oh,
Bags.
hang on. Bags has lost it.
Oh, no. Yes, he's almost put it... I think he hit the wall there while he was trying to recover the car. But he has tumbled all the way down to 16th position. No obvious damage on the Aston Martin. Now, that's less than ideal for Bags Liddell, for sure. I mean, he came off a win at Silverstone, and then he looked like in pretty decent form after that point. But yeah, unfortunately for him, that spin's going to cost him a fair bit. He'll be praying for a safety car. And here comes Spicy down the inside, heading towards turn 1. He goes for it, and BP, to his credit, left the door open. Just let the overtake happen. It's probably a wise thing to do on lap 5 of 36. There's no need to battle now, but he's going to be a little bit vulnerable to Marcus. In fact, no! Spicy's vulnerable to BP, who hello, Ferrari Pro, where did you come from? Around the outside at turn 3. What a move! Where did that come from?
That was a move and a half there by Ferrari Pro. That's
How did he make that work? Excuse me? He just robbed Marcus Costa of 3rd. What?
Oh, it was BP. Sorry, BP nearly had a moment after the S's. Here comes Ferrari Pro. Oh, he didn't have the momentum to get past. Well, I thought he would have, but no, he didn't. But no, BP was alongside him because Spicy also made a mistake at turn 2. And then you just saw Ferrari Pro just go around the outside of turn 3. It's like, oh my goodness.
Caught me off guard. I was watching BP trying to battle Spicy, and in comes Ferrari Pro from stage right. And he just snatches 3rd like it was nothing. What? Now, Mr. Ferrari Pro, as amazing as his overtake was, does have a 3-second time penalty next to his name now. He got that through the S section as Vengeance overtakes ACW. See Ferrari Pro being a bit of a nuisance to BP, trying to find a way by, sitting in the slipstream. I saw a flashing red light at the back of the Ferrari as well. Look at that. So little battery. Oh, it's Plebs and Marcus. Oh. Marcus almost went into the back of Ferrari Pro, and Plebs almost went into the back of Marcus. Gee whiz, that was close.
That was close indeed.
Oh. My goodness me. Look at this leading train. It's from P1 all the way down to P7. That is the train leading this race. Spicy at the front of it. BP in 2nd. Ferrari Pro in 3rd. Marcus Costa in 4th. Followed by Plebs, Vengeance, and ACW. Then it's a 1.5 second gap back to Pump, the other McLaren, in P8.
Yeah, it seems like too, I'm noticing through the S section, Spicy looks quicker through that S section. He gains time by like 3 or 3.5 tenths. But then BP gains all that time back because of the lower wing setup. And he'll close it back up. Obviously won't be close enough to attack maybe, but yeah, definitely tells you, like you mentioned earlier, he definitely looks like he has more of a straight line speed set of BP, that is.
Hello Vogel in the chat as well. Team Vengeance, he says. Well, Team Vengeance is doing pretty solid right now. He just set the fastest lap of the race on lap 6, so Vengeance has got some serious pace, but he's got some serious customers to pass to try and get to the front. The first of which is Plebs, and as we all know, Plebs is not easy to pass, and Plebs has had a few results here in Mexico, a few very solid results, so he'll be looking to try and snag another one here in the Elite Series. Now, right now he's in a comfy spot in P5. He's not troubling the leaders so much, but he is definitely within the fight.
Yeah, he definitely does. He definitely knows how to not get into any track limit penalties around here too, from what I've noticed watching him.
Yeah, absolutely. He well and truly keeps out of trouble when it comes to warnings. He's very good at that. Almost scarily good. As that's not avoiding warnings, Mr. Costa. That is a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings next to your name. Now you and Ferrari Pro, funnily enough, championship contenders, now both have 3 seconds time penalties to deal with. So none of these guys are really quite close enough to battle at this stage. They're just sort of waiting, aren't they?
Yeah, just playing a bit of the patient game, I guess. It's still a long race to go.
Yeah, no, none of these guys are quite close enough to battle as Nick overtakes Marvelin for P13. And everyone else in the field are pretty spread out at this point. We do have a bit of a cluster here, though, with Nick, Marvelin, and Bags. Saw on the totem pole that Nick overtook Marvelin at turn 1. Bags can't get quite close enough to attack here at turn 4. Remember as well here on Race Spec, top 15 score points. So although these guys are outside of the top 10, they're still fighting for something, as Hillez gets a 3-second penalty, and Roscoe Arm follows suit. So now we have 5 cars with time penalties, all of them 3 seconds, and there's bound to be a few more drivers who will get some time penalties during this race.
Yeah, maybe we could see another one from the top 7 in this train.
Wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it either. Nope.
But this is just the nature of Hermanos Rodriguez, isn't it? There are so many areas of the racetrack where you need to fully abuse the track limits to set optimal times. So we're right on board here with Ferrari Pro. See, riding up against the orange sausage strips. Look how much he's cutting there at turn 2. And then you have to run it nice and wide at the exit of turn 3 so you can maximise the top speed heading down towards turn 4. We'll get on the brakes at the 100. Pulls it up nicely in second. Short shifts to third. Nice through turn 5. Using a bit of the outside there, heading into turn 6. Now, you do have to be careful. You don't want to use too much, otherwise you will get a warning for abusing track limits. See through here, this S section. Look how much of the track the drivers are having to use. They're using the tarmac and then some. If you get... Oh, plebs!
Oh, plebs! Oh, no.
Almost a carbon copy to what happened with Bags, it seems. Spun in the same spot.
The commentator's curse. Remember what we said about plebs keeping out of trouble?
Well, he's just found it.
Yeah, he found it. Apparently he found the trouble.
Vengeance has lost a considerable amount of time as well to his teammate. Look at the gap, 1.7 seconds. And look, he's dumping his battery in response. He knows he needs to get back within that 1 second range. Now, maybe his teammate might help him out. Try and close that gap up a little bit to bring him back into the fight. Yeah, I'm not sure at this point. Yellows are out again. Don't know why.
Not Hillez. I don't know. I assumed Hillez at one brief moment because I saw him being overtaken. But it wasn't. But never mind.
I don't know what that was all about. That was strange.
Maybe it's just a... yeah, maybe just local yellows. I don't know.
Don't know.
Happens sometimes in this game.
Now, the leaders making their way through the opening S section. 7.5. Make that 0.8 now, separating the top 2. Yeah, BP has not made many inroads on Spicy. Spicy has been able to pull out a margin every time he goes through that middle sector. And I think it reaffirms your statement, KD, that Spicy might be running higher wings to find speed in the middle sector, whereas BP runs lower wings to find time on the main straight and the straightaway after turn 3. Spicy sets a new fastest lap. Not a bad effort there. 19.6 from the Mercedes driver. So, and Vengeance hasn't closed in on his teammate. So Costa, it's not like Costa can back off much more. He's only 7/10 behind Ferrari Pro. You don't want that gap to increase to 1 second. So you want to stay within DRS range. But Vengeance doing all he can to try and get himself back into this top 4 fight, turn it into a top 5 fight. And he's trying to get rid of ACW as well, but ACW, he's clinging on to that 1 second range as Hillez and Plevs battle for position through turn 5, and Hillez, he gets in front. He's into P9, and Plevs can't do much about that heading into turn 6. Yeah.
But yeah, the gap is still hovering about 1.6. It's going to be difficult for Vengeance though because of the top 5 just clinging onto each other with DRS. That's the other issue he's got.
Yeah.
With this situation, it's he just needs to pray for someone to at least make a mistake or some sort. Speaking of a mistake, Bags Liddell getting a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, to add more salt into the wound. Yeah, down in P16. As Marcus Costa sets a new fastest lap. So, Costa's turned on. Oh, here comes BP. Round the outside at turn 1. Nice move there. Spicy can't fight back on that one, I'm afraid. BP takes the lead.
Yep, and stays ahead. He will stay ahead because of the only one DRS detection point, like you mentioned earlier. It's using to his advantage.
Through this turn 4-5 chicane, we've seen the pace that Spicy has had through this middle sector. Can he extract that pace and maybe try and retake the position? Or will he take a more conservative route, try and stay behind BP for a few laps? You know, it's amazing to think how much the drivers actually think about that sort of stuff. As Marcus Costa, he's ready to battle Ferrari Pro. Look at him all over the place, trying to find a way by, but can't get it done, I'm afraid, at turn 12. He has to stay behind. Look at Spicy. Oh, he was so close to touching the rear end of BP's Haas as they make their way around turn 16 and around turn 17. Back on the main straightaway to start lap 13 of 36. We've got a long way to go. As Spicy, with DRS open, is not closing in too quickly on the race leader. Closing in bit by bit by bit. Yellows are out. That's genuine yellows too. I think it's Whitey spinning. He comes in.
Go into the pits.
Just check for a puncture there, if he got a puncture, and he did not get a puncture. So it's all good.
Spicy go for the attack.
Here we go, down the inside of turn 4. We're right on board with Ferrari Pro. He gets in front, covers the apex at turn 5, but BP's got a small run. He wisely backs out of it. You don't want to go side by side through turn 6. It does get a bit messy. I think BP just rolled out of the throttle just a little bit to allow Spicy the position. As, what's that? Marvelin's overtaken. Been overtaken by G-Force Zach.
Still same gap with Vengeance and Costa. Still hasn't really hasn't increased, nor has it decreased actually. Still
I've noticed is that he doesn't really gain time through the middle sector, which is a bit surprising considering the cars in front are stuck in dirty air, and it's not as noticeable in this year's game, but there's still definitely dirty air. Yeah, Vengeance has not been able to make any inroads on the top 4. He is stuck. He's got pace right now to battle for the front places as BP goes down the inside and takes that front place away from Spicy.
Oh, Ferrari runs wide. Ferrari runs wide. He went deep into turn 1. That allowed Marcus Costa to get through there.
And it looks like Ferrari Pro can't fight back as Whitey spins this time at turn 12. BP keeps the race lead. Spicy still in second. What's happened to G-Force Zach? He's been overtaken by 2 cars. That's what's happened. Bags and Marvelin move through. Bags into P12, Marvelin into P13. Through the S section. Around turns 10 and 11. See how much of the circuit the drivers have to use. As Vengeance is now within that second range. Look, look, look. That mistake from Ferrari Pro has allowed Vengeance
Oh, hey, what's happened to the front? Someone's made a mistake. I think Spicy made a mistake. Marcus is through to the lead because of that.
Strange. That's
interesting
very strange.
there. Yeah.
Didn't quite catch that.
I didn't quite catch it either, but I think I saw him and BP make a mistake. Then yeah, Marcus is in the lead, but BP's going to come back at him.
And we got a drag race between Ferrari Pro and Spicy as well. And there's a car off on the inside.
I don't know if you caught that, but freaking BP was just giving Marcus Costa a little bit of flap on the wing. I think past him.
Very
That's
well.
so cheeky. That is so cheeky.
Yeah, no, I was trying to see what Vengeance was up to, but it stayed with this camera looking down the straightaway, looking at turn 11, even though the cars were making their way into the arena section. No idea why it gave me that angle, but yeah, couldn't quite see what happened with BP, Spicy, and Costa.
Yeah, I couldn't see either, to be fair. I think I had the same angle as you, but I noticed, all I noticed was just those two were going slowly, then they all bunched up at one point because of that. whatever mistake happened, and then Marcus just got into the lead.
Heading up towards the hairpin of turn 13. BP managing the race lead right now, but I don't think he's going to hold it for long. Costa's going to get the position back, heading down the straightaway.
Oh, what a catch there by Marcus. He had the car snap there at the final corner. Goodness me. That was a brilliant catch.
DRS Open switching on the battery. Here he comes. You look to the inside here into turn 1, but BP deep on the brakes, pulls the car up too. Maintains the lead through the opening chicane. Not a great run though. Out of turn 3, Costa will have DRS, but look at the Haas driving away. Probably BP switching it up into overtake. Able to just drive away.
Probably. Maybe you wish you could have had the flap open again to give him another wave.
Maybe. But no, back to our initial point. Thanks to that mistake from Ferrari Pro, Vengeance and ACW are now back in the fight.
Yep, correct.
So.
Now we got a 6-way fight for the lead, pretty much.
Yep. And penalties and strategy, to a certain degree, are definitely going to play their part in this battle. Because, well, it's not so much tyre compounds, it's the undercut.
Yeah.
And overcut. So.
Yeah, because undercut here is a little bit powerful around Mexico.
Oh, another catch.
Again, another catch there from Marcus Costa. My gosh. Again. With that.
BP's got some battery. He's got 53% next to his name. 324 kilometers an hour. We see 328 indicated for Marcus Costa. So he's not making big gains with DRS open down the main straightaway. Sort of reaffirming the idea that BP is running some lower wings to get better straight line speed.
Yeah,
look, he's just able to hold his own out in front. Yep.
And something that you don't normally see from Marcus, we've seen all season long, he's low on battery.
Lower, yeah. Marcus on 22%, Spicy on 33%, yeah. Ferrari Pro's just over 10. Vengeance on 40, HCW has 60. So yeah, naturally, like in previous races, Costa's been the best at conserving battery. He's second worst in the train right now.
Correct. And both the championship contenders are pretty much the worst at it. And the worst in penalty situation too at the moment.
Yeah.
As we pointed out earlier.
So we're closing in on the halfway mark now. As Costa ducks into pit lane. He's going for it.
Careful with that. Yep. I thought he was going to speed there for a brief moment, but he pulled it up very good. Fair credit.
So the medium tyres putting on to the mediums.
And Ferrari Pro just dumped every ounce of that battery that he had, but couldn't find a way past, obviously, thanks to Spicy with DRS.
Yeah, Spicy still has it, thanks to Marcus in front of him. He still has it, because BP's got that 1.1 second lead. You can see there, even with DRS, Spicy couldn't close in either. So yeah, BP's running some lower wings. He's got some serious pace. Yellows are out. It's Whitey again.
Was it Whitey? Oh, I thought it was Asnick.
Yeah,
wait, no.
Final part of the lap, yeah.
Yeah. No, I see, in the same section. Also, I've noticed that, a little side note, Ferrari Pro's got a little Ayrton Senna tribute helmet or something.
Yeah, bright yellow helmet.
On his lip. Yep, and a little bit of green as well, like Senna did. Looks very cool, like that.
Stands out, sort of begs the idea. I wonder what Senna would have been like in a Ferrari. Certainly would have been something to see. So.
It would have. Oh, I agree. So, does anyone respond to Marcus? Yep. One does. Yep. Spicy does.
Into the pits goes Spicy. Gets the first pit stall, as he's a Mercedes driver. On goes the medium tyre, and away he leaves. Keep an eye out for that dark blue dot making his way around the penultimate turn, and then the final corner. Has the undercut worked for Costa? Let's find out. It looks like it will.
I think it will. He's going to have the speed.
Look at that.
And there you go. And there he goes. Just like that.
DRS open for Spicy, so he gets a little bit of help.
Yeah. Yep, and he's got to get temperature into those mediums quickly. just so he doesn't lose out to Marcus Costa. So that means these guys have got to respond now. The top 4, they've got to respond to this.
BP making his way out of the S's now through turn 11. Heading up towards the final sector. Will he pit? Will he not? And what will the 3 drivers behind him do in this situation as well? You can see the gap from the leader down to Marcus Costa is 20.5 seconds. We'll see if the pit transit time is low enough so he can stay out in front. BP doesn't pit.
He's still, yeah, Ferrari though pulls the plug. Same with ACW.
Now, Ferrari Pro was about a second behind, so let's say 19.5 seconds was the gap between Ferrari Pro and Marcus Costa. They're heading out of pit lane now, in the middle of the fast lane. Costa's just set the fastest lap. He's asserting his authority, and through he goes. Through goes Spicy as well. He's up to speed now. But the undercut has worked. Well, Spicy doesn't quite get as far in front as I thought he would have, to be honest.
Ferrari Pro's not going to have to get those tires up to temperature, obviously. And same with ACW to get back up there. But yeah, this is definitely proving that, Marcus Costa has definitely proven that how powerful the undercut really is in Mexico.
And how much has this hurt BP, our race leader, as Keegs gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings? Well, the gap has just shrunk to 19.5 seconds, so this is going to hurt.
He has to go in now. There's no other option.
Well,
really?
The other option he took.
No, he completely ignored me. Well, there you go.
He's staying out for another lap. He wants those fresh tyres for the end of the event. That's what he wants. He doesn't care about the now. He cares about what happens on lap 36.
Yeah, I guess so. There you go. Spicy sets fastest lap.
Yep. 18.288 as Vengeance will come out behind Ferrari Pro. Here comes ACW. And he comes out behind just in front. ACW. Vengeance will file in behind. Now, that gap is continuing to shrink. But yeah, BP obviously has a game plan right here, right now. Does not mind at all that he's losing time relative to Costa. So, will he pit this time, I guess? That's the question we got to ask.
I guess so.
As
Plebs overtaking Asnick.
Yeah, around the outside too at turn 4. Got it done pretty simply. Nick on old tyres. Couldn't do much, unfortunately. Right. I think Nick, similar to BP, doesn't really mind right now.
Oh, man, just got a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that was close there, BP.
Yellow's out again. It's Whitey spinning this time at the exit of turn 1.
Yeah.
So BP, he might move out to the back of this train. Maybe.
I think he will. I think he's going to come out behind Vengeance. Goes Marcus. Goes Spicy, Ferrari Pro. ACW. Vengeance? No, stays ahead. I was wrong. Never mind.
So BP now in 5th position. He was leading this race before the pit stop period. Our new leader is Marcus Costa, and here comes Vengeance, KD. He's on the attack, trying to look down the inside here into turn 4, but could not get it done. The straight line speed of the Haas helping BP out.
Interesting. Well, I thought initially, like, when they came at the pit exit, I thought he was going to get him, but no, I was wrong. He was close to, though. Fair credit to Vengeance.
Look at BP. He is dumping a fair bit of time. 2 seconds is now the gap between himself and ACW. And Vengeance will have DRS down this straight. Probably more importantly, though, he will get DRS down the main straight on the next lap. So BP, I reckon he might have to use a fair bit of that battery to try and stay in front. It completely depends on how much straight line speed Vengeance has got, as Hill has a spun. And a full
safety car!
Yellow turn safety car. What is with Haas's destroying their front wing and bringing out safety cars? This must be a thing, KD. This has to be a thing. Like, it's not a coincidence anymore. Every time a Haas crashes and damages their wing, there's always a safety car. Any other car does it, nothing.
They just ignore it. Or just, for whatever reason, Debris just goes off the track, like you saw with Hillis. And then safety car happens. Other car happens? No, it doesn't come out. I saw that happen. I'll change the subject a bit, but I saw this happen in a race I commentated it at Monza. A car went off the road at Lesmo 1, fully off of the gravel trap. I don't know how he did it, but he crashed in that point of the track. It caused a safety car. Next 2 laps after the restart, a car crashes this guy. No safety car comes out.
Yeah.
Next 3 laps happen, and Alfa Romeo spins out at Ascari at the left side, and the debris was on the grass, and then boom, a safety car gets deployed. Oh dear, Pump's got to drive through.
Yep,
Ouch.
Speeding during the safety car period. You got to be really, really careful with that Delta, because it's, among other things, a very broken piece of kit in F122. It is, though. The Delta's broken in this game on so many different racetracks. Most notably, Monza and Silverstone.
And Silverstone, yeah, I know.
Like, I may mention, amongst other things, because there are so many other things just wrong, and it's really irritating to deal with, so...
And again, this is why I despise this game, and why everyone else despises this game.
Well, it's the reason why nobody wants to play this game. Just
Yeah,
nobody
it's
finds
garbage.
enjoyment out of this thing. We're racing out of the sake of competition now, rather than for the sake of enjoyment.
Yeah,
So,
it should be both, but it isn't.
it really should be both, but it isn't. It definitely isn't. Well, penalties are going to play an even bigger factor now, with this coming out. And if we have another one later on, it's going to play an even huger effect, so...
Well, let's see. I'm going to look at penalty warning situations. I won't have you look at it because I told you about that glitch.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely petrified of Race Director now, so...
Yep.
Because
Alright.
rumour mill is that if you're in spectator mode and look at the Race Director, your game can just crash on you, so...
Yeah, well, crash mean it goes to the final script, the graphic screen,
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it ends the race, and yeah.
It thinks it ends the race.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Marcus, his situation. After the penalty, he's got 2 more warnings
Oh, so,
added
okay.
to his name. So he's got 1 more. If he gets 1 more, he gets a penalty. Spicy has absolutely 0. Pro Pro is the same situation as Marcus.
Alright.
ACW has 1 warning. He's been he's had 1 moment of being naughty.
Oh.
BP has 2 warnings.
Alright.
Fair enough. And Vengeance, we did see him get a penalty not too long ago, and that's the only thing that he's had after that.
Yep, fair enough. And we see Pump, he's got that drive-through next to his name.
Yep.
That's ruined his race unless there's another safety car at some point. And even then, he's going to have a hard time coming up through the field. So, sorry, Pump. Really unlucky.
Yep, I know it. I know what that's like, being screwed over a safety car.
Yeah, by the Delta of all things.
Yeah, or circumstances too.
Yeah. Well, I think with circumstances, like, you could probably say, you know what, I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But when the game's literally screwing you over, it just leaves an incredibly sour taste in your mouth. So...
Absolutely.
Like, we saw what happened at Monza a little while ago in Race Spec, where during a final safety car period, 5 drivers got 20-second time penalties for speeding because the Delta went like -7 seconds under or something. Like, how can you recover from that? Like, there was a shot, I think it was in Pacific Tier 1, looking from Parabolica to Ascari, and a safety car came out, and all of the cars on that back straightaway came to a dead stop. As Pump pits in, he'll move himself to the back of the field. But this, obviously you can't serve a drive-through during yellows, so what he's doing, he's just hopping onto a new set of tyres. He'll move to the back of the field, he'll serve his drive-through, and then he'll hope for the best, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you can hope for at this point.
Yeah. Like,
in all honesty.
During a period like this, during a safety car period in VSC, you really do have to keep your eyes glued on the Delta and pay full attention to it. Like, don't bother paying attention to all the other drivers around you, because obviously that's not safe. Like, you have to pay attention to the Delta. That's the only thing you should be paying attention to. Like, it sort of takes common sense out of it, because you should be looking at the other drivers. Because drivers can check up suddenly or start weaving, and you can be caught out and you crash into the car in front or behind you. But no, instead you have to be constantly looking at the Delta, and you sort of have to drive with your peripheral vision. So, it's stupid, it's unnecessary, but we all have to put up with it, so...
Yep, unfortunately.
Unfortunately indeed. Safety car in this lap. That's the call from race control. So we're going to go back and green flag racing at the end of this lap. Marcus Costa is our race leader. He has got 3 seconds worth of penalties next to his name. He's on slightly older tyres than those behind him. Not by much, but it will make a slight difference towards the end of this event. Heading up towards the penultimate turn. Nice and steady from our championship leader. Waiting still. And then he goes. On the main straightaway, we're back on the green flag racing. It's lap 27 of 36. We got 10 laps to go. And look at the field. It looks like the opening lap out there. As BP shoots down the inside, heading towards turn 1. Could he take the lead from Costa? The answer is no. He takes third, though. Ferrari Pro hangs on to second place for now as they move through turn 3. Ferrari Pro on the outside gets better traction, so he hangs on to second as they head up towards turn 4. ACW under a bit of pressure from his teammate Spicy, who moves round the outside. Spicy with a not so great restart, moving from P2 down to P4, battling with his teammate ACW, heading out to turn 6, up towards the S's now. They're still squabbling for position. ACW with the nose in front and the inside line takes P4 away from Spicy. Through the S's we go, through turn 10, into turn 11, and up towards turn 12. Costa has managed to hang on to the lead, but what a restart from BP, demonstrating the straight line speed in that pass.
Yeah, and Marcus had to take initiative action there, you saw too. Took a very aggressive action, trying to cover up the inside line, and that's also why he went deep at one point because of that too, yeah. So, fair credit. Here comes Ferrari Pro, meanwhile.
With a whole heap of speed, he draws alongside the Williams, looking around the outside, heading towards turn 1. He has to go deep on the brakes, and he gets the car in front. He's into the race lead. Costa's down to second. BP V8 hovering behind in third. Vengeance and Spicy. Spicy running wide. Vengeance is through into 5th place. What was looking like a podium finish for Spicy now looks like a potential top 5. He's down in 6th. Right now, he's still in this fight, but he's got some work to do. Now, race leader Ferrari Pro has half a second over Marcus Costa as they make their way through the tricky and treacherous S section in the middle sector. Heading out of it now, down the straightaway towards turn 12. No DRS just yet. That will be enabled next lap, and that will shake things up here at the front of the field. Through the arena section, through turns 14 and 15, as Hillez overtakes Nick for P14. Around the final 2 corners as Pump gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, just to add a bit more salt into the wound. There is the call from race control. DRS enabled, and BP's closing in bit by bit, heading towards turn 1.
He's closing fast. Oh, close. Not close enough, though. He looked like he wanted to peek there, Marcus, but doesn't commit to the move.
You could actually hear, when I rode on board with him, he actually lifted out of the throttle.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to commit to the move just yet. He just wanted to try and scare Marcus, I think, trying to make him think, oh, he's going to go for it down the inside of turn 1. But no, he's holding firm in third right now. You can see Ferrari Pro trying to pull away, but the gap sitting still at 0.7 of a second. Through the S's we go. Through turns 10 and 11, the gap shrinks to 6.5 tenths. DRS open for Marcus Costa. He'll gain just a little bit down the straightaway as they head into turn 12. See everyone else in this train not too close to try and battle. They're all in this fight, especially if there's some sort of accident towards the front of it, then, oh, well, everything's going to kick off if that happens. Down the main straightaway, BP, he's got battery too, 70% compared to the 40% Marcus has got. And look at the gap Ferrari Pro has now, 0.8 tenths over Costa. Costa closing in,
BP.
And here comes BP down the inside to take second. Plebs overtaking Spicy, not quite though. Through turn 2, contact between the 2 cars there. There was rear wheel to front wing contact between Plebs and Spicy. I think both cars got away with that unscathed.
Yeah, they look fine from what I could see. But yeah, BP's got a whole heap of speed compared to the cars around him.
Yep.
That's 100% sure.
And guess what? He's got fresher tyres than them too.
That's true, yeah. He does have fresher boots compared to everyone else.
And no pens either. As you mentioned, he is sitting on 2 warnings, so if he makes one mistake, then it sort of blows this game wide open between the top 3. And that brings this man into contention, ACW, in 4th position. The next car that does not have a penalty is Spicy in P7. He was sitting in 2nd at the restart. Spicy has been well and truly mugged after this safety car restart.
Oh, Plebs! Plebs has lost it at the final turn. Oh, dear.
I suppose that was bound to happen at the final quarter. Somebody losing it towards the front. As here comes BP down the inside. Takes the position. He's back into the race lead. And there's not much Ferrari Pro can do about this. Heading down the straightaway. He doesn't have the battery to attack. BP doesn't need to use battery. He's got DRS and a faster car in the straight line.
Pretty much. And gained about a couple of tenths from that straight too, alone.
Roscoe had a moment. He's tumbled down to 14th. I saw his name tumble down through the order. No yellows, from what I could tell. But yeah, some sort of mistake.
Oh, Spicy's got a penalty there.
Well, there we
go. Running wide at turn 6. That's cost him big time.
All it takes is one mistake. One teeny tiny mistake, and it just blows it all open. So...
The thing, let me look at this. So pretty much initially, if it stays where it is, Pato could be in the mix of maybe possibly getting a podium, because he doesn't have a penalty either.
Yes.
These stuff we haven't even mentioned about too much in this race.
Well, it's going to be a tall order, but he needs to get by Spicy, try and catch up to ACW if he can, because ACW does not have... He's out of battery, ACW. He is out of battery. A big fat red 0 next to that battery life indicator. So he's used everything, and as a result, he lost about 0.4 of a second down that straightaway as G4 Zach gets by his own teammate for P8. Not that it matters really in the grand scheme of things, as Zach has 14 seconds worth of penalties next to his name.
Jeez, what a naughty boy you've been.
Indeed. Oh, look at Hillers around the outside though at Bags. Gets through down the inside. Bags tries to fight. Turns to the inside for Hillers here at turn 6. And with the better grip on the soft tyre, he moves himself into 9th, and there's a penalty.
ACW now gets a penalty too. Ouch. Cutting too much of the S's.
So now the drivers between P2 and P6 have time penalties. The only drivers in the entire field who don't have penalties are BP, our race leader, Pato in 7th, Marvelant in 12th, and Whitey in 16th. That is it.
Yep. Well, there you go. That changes a lot.
And I think with the gap increasing between ACW and Vengeance, it sort of takes Pato out of the fight for that final podium spot. Unless something happens here towards the front, so...
Yeah, big mistake or something as well as over... Oh, well, the two Mercs are fighting for it. Spicy and ACW.
Well, Spicy would like to get a move on. Like, these two are now battling for position, so... Spicy with speed, with DRS, with no battery though, as Pleb sets a new fastest lap. Very close to going for it there, Spicy, but he eventually backed out of it. Didn't want to go for the move. But yeah, look at the gap between ACW and Vengeance, 2.8 seconds. So the most Pato can hope for now is 5th.
Yep.
So...
Excuse me.
BP though, keeping his car on the black stuff, not creeping too far over the white lines. He got very close to a warning there. There it is! There it is! A 3-second time penalty for BP. The game is back on at the front of the field. This will give all of these drivers a sense of adrenaline. They can go for the win now. It's even ground between everyone in the top 4.
Well, you kind of cursed him a bit there.
Well, he was very close to a warning. He used so much of the track on the outside of turn 12, heading into turn 12, that I thought he might have got a warning from that. But it seemed he got one running wide at the edge of the turn 12.
Yeah, that's where he got the from. But yeah, no, that's correct.
There you go.
Good. Goodness me.
He got close. He got too close, in fact.
Yeah, you were watching the onboard with Ferrari. Yeah, he was quite close.
Now, heading down towards the S section. 3/10 separating the top 2. The battle is well and truly on. Ferrari Pro, can he gain any time through this section? Hillez gets a 3-second time penalty, increasing his total to 12 as Costa tries to close in, but doesn't close in by enough. Pato now joins the party. He gets a 3-second time penalty. You get a penalty. You get a penalty. Everyone gets a penalty at this point. The only 2 drivers who haven't are Marvelin and Whitey. They've been the nicest, cleanest boys out there today. Good job from them. Everyone else, abusing them track limits.
Set to 2 yellows, that's for Whitey.
He's had a torrid night, but he somehow doesn't have a pen, so good on him.
Well, at least he's trying to keep it off the black stuff, and speaking of someone that didn't, he backed up into the pit lane and then got reset to the trap by the game. There you go.
BP has battery in hand too. Look at that, 38% compared to Ferrari Pro, who has next to nothing. Costa 3rd, Vengeance in 4th. So it looks like the top 2 in the championship are going to finish towards the front and on the podium once again, but they've got a Haas at the very front of the field as Key gets a 10, then a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. That was at the opening chicane. He's had enough. He's just cutting everything now. To think we've gone through the entire race without a retirement. We might get our first disqualification, though, with Keegs. He's got only 38 seconds worth of penalties, as Pato now has 6 seconds. Man, it took him a long time to get 3 seconds. Took him no time at all to get 6.
Look how close Ferrari Pro is, though. He was committed there to that hairpin. Now is all over the back of the Haas, too. Well, he was for a brief moment.
Yeah, the trouble is, he will not have the battery to try and attack the race leader. Pato retires. He's crashed.
He's crashed. Yeah, final turn.
Wow.
Wow. Right side wall, I'm guessing, is what happened to him.
Yeah, I would guess that. Lost control mid-corner and hit the inside wall at the final corner, and then it spat his car back out onto the racetrack. So Pato, man, he was looking at a really good points finish, and then he threw it away with a lap to go.
Yep. top 4 still, meanwhile, still close. Oh, Marcus has got another penalty.
Well, there we go. That's not good for our championship leader. In 3rd place, it's going to cost him another position, and maybe 2 if ACW can get a wriggle on as we head through this middle sector for the final time. BP is starting to stretch away. No one can challenge him unless he makes a mistake. Into the arena section for the final time. Will the confetti be thrown up into the air? Yes, it is. Just white confetti this time around. Around the final 2 corners. A fine drive from BPV8. He wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Ferrari Pro in 2nd. It will be Vengeance who finishes 3rd. And ACW misses out on 4th place by 83 thousandths of a second. G-Force Zach, a 5-second time penalty, unserved time penalty. And that demotes him down to P10 in the final result. P11 now. There we are. BP winning here in Mexico. A fine drive. Just making full use of what his car had, which was epic straight line speed.
And it worked quite well.
Yep. Absolutely. No, not a bad Mexican Grand Prix. Had its moments here and there. The race where we didn't really have any retirements. Nick, given driver of the day, will see his performance in the final results screen. But for now, we'll see BP walk down the corridor of celebration. Fine drive from him today, kept pretty much out of trouble. Did get a time penalty which spikes things up, but even so he looked pretty much in complete control. Ferrari Pro will end up taking 2nd, outscoring his championship rival Marcus Costa, as his teammate Vengeance will end up finishing on the podium in 3rd. Another massive points haul for the Williams outfit. So then, the unofficial results of the Mexican Grand Prix. BPV8 is your race winner from F1 Ferrari Pro. Only 0.6 of a second separating the top 2 at the end of this race. Vengeance will finish P3, completing the podium places. Outside of those places, we have Marcus Costa finishing in 4th, ACW in 5th, followed by his teammate Spicy in 6th, Bags Liddell 7th, Nick in 8th, coming up from 15th on the grid. Not a bad effort at all, making up 7 places over the course of this event. Well done. Marvelant, P9. Rounding out the top 10 is Hilles in the other Haas. Pump, P11, followed by G-Force Zach and Roscoe Arm. Plebs with fastest lap. Not the race he was looking for. Unfortunately, got himself into a spot of trouble through the S section early in the race. YTP 15, our final point scorer. Keeg somehow did not get disqualified, and Pato is classified even after his accident on the penultimate lap at the final corner. Just to note as well, KD, remember when Bags had his moment? He finishes in 7th.
Yeah, there you go. A nice recovery drive.
Indeed. Continuing the form he's been on recently. I think Bags is on solid form right now, doing quite well. Now, I'll go blue screen for just a moment. We'll invite the top 3. We'll do some post-race interviews. We'll be back in a few moments. Let's see here. Add players. Can the friends list pop up for me? Can they just not leave it blank? Come on, Pierce. Thank you, PSN. Thank you. BP. Let's see here. Ferrari Pro. Almost get past here. And Vengeance. Where are you? Fans list. Stop it. Thank you. I'll invite them in. Oh, there's a timer. About time you popped up. Gee whiz. game's weird. Just get these moments where the timer just straight up does not pop up. Period. We have to wait for ages for it to pop up. Hello, BP.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, BP. Nice
Hello.
to meet you.
Must be a pretty good feeling for you at the moment.
Yeah, it was alright. It was quite good.
Hello, Ferrari Pro as well.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Oh, interesting race that we had today. Had its moments for sure. Just be waiting on Vengeance to pop in. Had a nice little chat. Moved myself into the virtual showroom once this game loads up. Man, I've got to move to next gen as soon as possible. These loading times do get ridiculous.
I don't blame you with that one bit.
Hello, Vengeance.
Hey, Vengeance.
Hang on. Turn that. Just checking stuff. Always good to check stuff. Alrighty. Virtual showroom. Well, thank you to all three of you for joining us here today to answer a few questions. We'll start from third. We'll make our way up, per the usual. So we'll start with you today, Vengeance. Third place finish at the end of that race. Happy with the result?
Yeah, it's alright, but it could have been a lot more.
Yep, fair enough.
Especially for my teammate Marcus and I, we could have, I reckon we could have got the 1-2.
Well, yeah, it was looking pretty solid for both of you out there today. But, oh, it's still a decent point haul though, with third and fourth, so you will definitely extend your lead in the constructors. But
Yeah.
qualifying, P8. Probably not happy with that, I'm guessing.
No. The car, I don't know, it's just, I had no grip, it felt like I was on ice, and it was just overall shit. It was just really,
Fair enough.
I felt like, yeah.
Like, the conditions look pretty average out there for a lot of people. Like, I think KD noted with a few drivers, they were just skating everywhere out there.
Yeah, it was on that crossover between the inters and the wets, so obviously if we went to the wets, we would have had a lot more traction, but obviously they're quite a slow tyre, so it's,
Your teammate had a fun time with someone on the wet tyre during qualifying.
Yes, yeah. I was in a party with him and he wasn't happy. It was one of the Alfa Romeos.
Yes.
Completely stuffed it up, and that's like, when people are doing that, that's really poor, because it's affecting the championship, and yeah, it's just really shitty from people to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you had some recovering to do. How was your start, first of all, on the hard tyre?
The start, I got really bad traction, so I think I dropped to like P11, but I managed to get quite a few people back at turn 1, so I was in that 8th, like staying in that 8th position, and then yeah, it was a pretty decent race. Pace felt good, but yeah, me and my teammate Marcus were just trying to work together. I was just staying behind and all that. With the strategy, my engineer, he was telling me to go quite early, try and go for an undercut, and I wanted to go a couple laps more, because I felt that my pace was really good, but unfortunately the undercuts was just,
It did work. The undercut really did work.
Yeah, my teammate Marcus managed to jump the pack, and I was at the back, that P6, but yeah, that did affect me, especially the safety car, but it's what it is. Took a gamble.
What happened with that safety car period, on your end at least?
Do you mean like after?
Pretty, on the restart and afterwards.
I think I just stayed in position, and then like after I overtook ACW and was just yeah, nothing much happened.
Yeah, fair enough.
Happened from there.
It is pretty tough being stuck at the back of the train. You can't really do anything from there. So,
Yeah.
Just sort of hoping, waiting for a moment to happen.
Yeah. And towards the back end of the race, me and my teammate Marcus were just trying to work together to get Ferrari Pro, because we could see he burned his battery so quickly. Like we could already see after like a lap or two he's out of battery. So we were just really trying to get him, but unfortunately my teammate he just couldn't get him in the end, and I was there behind with about 40-50% battery, but I kind of just stayed there, didn't do much, because the plan was for Marcus to get Ferrari Pro, and then with my battery get Ferrari Pro again, so that we could get the double podium.
Yep.
But yeah, P4 on track, P3 due to pens. It's alright. Could have been a lot more though.
Yeah. But you also had a decent recovery as well, because I think early in the race, Plevs lost it in front of you.
Yeah.
You lost a fair bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely shit myself when he done that. But
yeah, he did that twice, as a matter of fact, too, at that same corner.
Yeah, I wasn't happy because out of turn 3 he got a bad exit, and I was trying to get him, and then I think out of 4 he ran wide and held me up, maybe lose like a second, so I was quite pissed off, and then obviously he was struggling with traction and he just spun out of the S's, so after that I kind of caught up to the pack because I was battling and had decent pace, so yeah.
You know, all in all, solid race, I'd say.
Yeah, yes, it was a solid race, good fun. Yeah.
KD? Oh yeah, go ahead, KD.
No, was there a point though that you were a bit worried that you weren't going to catch up to the top, top 4? If, let's say, like they did make a mistake throughout the entire race.
Yeah, I was saying to my engineer, I think I was about 2.5 seconds behind my team. I was like, do I burn? Like, do I go for it? And he was like, if you want. So I burnt a bit, and yeah, I had good pace. So I think I got a couple fastest laps, and yeah. No, I think there was a point where they were battling quite a while, and I managed to catch back up, and I was just chilling there. Not too much was happening.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough.
You know, when you have those DRS trains forming, and you're in the middle of it, you can't really do much. So
yeah, I wasn't happy because once I went to the meds, I got my 3rd warning.
Yeah.
It was really stupid as well because I wasn't used to the grip. I just turned it too early. And got the
I've done that.
But I might try and get a warning removed because there was a stage. I think it was where Spicy Salami and Ferrari Pro were battling, and Ferrari Pro, he just went so slow in the apex of 2 that I had to cut it, which caused me to get my 1st warning, obviously. So
Alright.
if I can get that removed, I'm not sure if I can. I may be looking at a provisional win.
Alright, interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that post everything else. But one final question for you, Vengeance. Next week we're heading over to Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. How do you feel heading over there next week?
Yeah, it's a good circuit for me. I don't mind.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, with Paul Ricard, it's always interesting. I don't think too many people strongly dislike the racetrack. A lot of people find it very mediocre. It's okay. So, but best of luck to you next week, Vengeance. But for now, congratulations on your P3 finish. Well done.
Thank you.
We'll move on to P2. Not a bad performance from you today, Mr. Ferrari Pro. A 2nd place result. You beat your championship rival. You must be pretty pleased with yourself.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Vengeance, you know, like I felt there could have been a bit more in that with, like, you know, me having the low IQ of battery and just using it all the time.
Yeah.
And if I kept that, I maybe could have got past BP, but it is what it is. I'm still really happy P2 though.
Qualifying though, P3 in those tricking conditions. How was it on your end?
Oh, it was a disaster. I saw it was going to be a dry race, and then I just decided to use my dry setup, and holy moly,
Wasn't fun.
do not use 15 rear wing
What?
or.
Yeah, like being on an ice skating rink.
Oh, I felt like Kimi Räikkönen, KD, the Iceman.
Yeah,
Stuck on the drag strip
my
back
God.
at Hockenheim.
yeah, I know, right?
Spa 2008 vibes.
Yeah, bro.
Icy roads.
But you kept it together though. Set the third fastest time, so you got to start on the second row. How was the start on your end? It looked pretty good from what I could tell.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of wheel spin off the actual launch, and then I knew I had a lot of straight line speed compared to maybe other people's setups, maybe. So I had a bit of confidence there that I would have it, and I think I did, to be honest. And I just did what I usually do, just deploy all my battery, and I think I made a position on the start of it. Pretty sure I did. And yeah, it was a pretty nice start though. It was nice and sure. Had a good I think it was you, BP, or Marcus, and I had a good battle with someone. And yeah, it was pretty nice.
Breaking news as well. Broke Vegan says he loves you. Correct.
Hello, Vegan.
But
What a surprise.
no, you definitely had some interesting battles here and there. You had a really nice move around Marcus Costa at turn 4.
Oh yeah, the lap 6.
Yeah, sent around the outside. Like, I was on board with Costa, and I was paying attention to Spicy and BP battling, and in comes you around the outside, out of nowhere. You just invited yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either, to be honest. I was like, oh, he got a bad run off turn 3. I'm just gonna try see what I can do, and got around him.
Got around him, mate.
Yeah, got
Bloody
around
hell.
him.
Caught me off guard. Just watching two in front, and in comes this Ferrari on the outside. That just surprised me.
It surprised me also. I didn't expect I could do that. I did not expect it.
But no, you hung around at the front, and then the pit stop period came around. Did you feel like you maybe screwed yourself up a little bit by pitting a bit later?
Well, I've always found that going longer on hards for myself, it actually feels quicker than the start. I've always found that, so I just went going a bit longer by 2 laps.
Yep.
And I tried the undercut BP, and I got him.
Yep.
And on like the actual undercut, and no, I felt that was actually pretty good, that pit stop I did. I would have loved to maybe got the overcut on Marcus, but just the undercut was too good around here. He was ahead of me anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying to Lane too how I had a feeling the undercut was going to be quite powerful, and it proved me correct on how it was. And it has been like that for the past few games. I've noticed as well about that undercut being powerful.
Yeah, it's a lot of the like section tracks that are really good on it.
Especially going from a hard tie to a medium tie, because the medium tie just switches on so much faster compared
The mediums around here, the best tire, 100%.
Yeah.
They just feel so good.
But, and then we had the safety car come out after Hillers hit the wall. How was that period after the safety car to the checkered flag from your end?
I was just like, I'm just gonna deploy everything I can on this restart and try to get past them.
Yeah.
I got past them both, but then I think Marcus started coming back, and then BP got in front of Marcus, and BP got in front of me.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to stick with BP after that, but he just started pulling away because, you know, he had the better battery usage and the better pace, and I was a bit frightened that Marcus would have got me, but I saw he got the 6th second on a couple laps to the end there, so I was like, I'm just gonna chill out.
Fair enough. And eventually he came home in second.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about Vengeance also, because I thought he would have got me as well. I thought Marcus would have let him go to try hold me up, but yeah, either way, it was a good race, really.
Fair enough. But, KD, have you got anything to ask for iPro?
Nothing more, honestly, to add on, but, honestly, though, your overtake there was probably one of the best I've seen so far in this series, in this season. On Marcus Cup. Yeah, I mean, like Lane said, it caught me off, it caught him off, like it caught him off guard, it caught me a little bit off guard as well, seeing that. That was pretty cool, see. But, good job on
cool
P2.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Saw Costa's overtake at Spain, and now we can add this one to Mexico. Ferrari.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Bro, Costa's overtake at Spain, though, that was mint. Yeah, that was pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
He did it off-roading for it.
Yeah, bloody hell, he did. Gee whiz.
Turned into Sebastian Vettel.
Yes. But,
Yeah.
One final question for you, Ferrari Pro. Next week we head over to Circuit Paul Ricard. How do you feel heading into next week's French Grand Prix?
Yeah, I like the track. I like it on F122. So it's a good track for racing this year, I found. And yeah, it's just a nice track, and I feel pretty confident around it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Fair enough. But best of luck to you then next week, and also for the rest of this championship battle, because yeah, you will close in a little bit on Costa thanks to this result.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rounds remaining. So
thank you, KD and Lane, and congrats to BP and Vengeance, and also just everyone I was battling. That was bloody good, right?
Fair enough. Congratulations on your P2 finish here in Mexico. Well done.
Yeah, thanks,
Congratulations.
We'll move on to the race winner, who's been waiting patiently. Thank you for that, BP.
So good.
Race winner, mate. Welcome back to Victory Lane. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
But now a fine drive from you today. Started off with qualifying P2 at the end of quali. Missed out by just under 2/10. How was it on your end during that session?
Well, the race was dry, so I ran a dry setup, and it was just incredibly sketchy. I was running 11.6 wing, so we had pretty much no grip in the wet.
Well,
yeah, 11.6 wing, so it's just kind of no real grip in the wet. The track was getting insanely fast at the end of the session, and on the last run, I just pushed it too deep into turn 1, and just that was it. Like it wasn't even like I was so far deep that I couldn't even like really make the corner. Like I was in the grass. Because I think the track was almost a second faster.
Yep, that does explain why you were 1.7 seconds up in the first sector. That does explain.
Yeah, I ended up cutting across once I knew because it was just done. Yeah, I honestly think the track was about a second faster.
Yeah, it seemed like it. The track really did evolve very quickly right at the end of the session. So, yeah, it would have been very interesting if everyone got their final runs in properly, just to see how quick the times would have gotten. But with Mexico, a lot of people made mistakes right at the end of that session. So, you weren't the only one. But you got a front row start, which is better than nothing. How was the start on your end, heading down towards turn 1?
Start was decent. Start was decent. No real wheel spin or anything. Just got the power down, then juiced him with the lower wings. I was able to just take P1 into turn 1. It's just I took a swing at the setup because I hadn't done any racing on Mexico before tonight. So I took a swing at. I did about 10 laps before starting this race.
All right.
So yeah, I took a swing at the wings for the setup. Just had it like go long straight. Let's just go low wing. Surely it can't be that bad. And sector 2 and 3 was just a nightmare.
Yeah, right. I was gonna ask because you had plenty of power down those straights. You had so much top speed. What was it like in the dry with those wings? Like, how was the dry was.
I mean, realistically, it was fine. It was just the really slow sections and like balancing your car on the curves whilst not having much wing. It can really knock it around, which it did a fair few times.
Yeah.
I nearly lost it multiple times in the like end of sector 2.
Yep.
Through like the S's and stuff, because just you touch a curb wrong and the lack of downforce, it just didn't want to stick. So on the hard tires, I wasn't getting the tire temp either. I was like in the high 80s, the tire temp, and yeah, it was so much better on the mediums.
Mm. Well, I mean, there was one point I watched you going down the main straightaway. You were fine with Marcus. You overtook him, and you were very happy that you gave him a little cheeky wave at the front straightaway.
Oh, he actually saw that.
Yeah, KD did. I was a bit too far. Yeah, I was watching from the car behind, but KD saw
I was laughing. I was like, he's just he was just teasing him. That was my initial thought.
No, man. Like we were speaking just before the race, and I told in the wings I was gonna run, so I was just kind of like, hey, look at the straight line speed this thing's got.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't think it would get caught by anyone. It was just, yeah.
Yeah, no, your car was a rocket ship in a straight line. Holy cow, it was fast.
Yeah.
There was one moment,
it was just the tight stuff. It was just really hard to keep the mid corner up.
There was one particular moment in the tight stuff that we didn't quite catch. Entering the arena section, you and Spicy magically lost the lead to Costa. We didn't see
I got drilled in the rear by him.
By
Spicy. Yeah.
Oh.
I got hit in the rear by him. It was honestly a miracle that I was able to actually catch it.
Oh,
I don't know how I caught it, and it's just like, well, 3 wide into the stadium, going into the left-hander in the stadium.
Yep. And Costa managed to get through.
Yeah, he managed to get through, and it was like, okay, no big deal. Oh. And I think I got him the lap after, I think.
Okay.
There you go. Because we were stuck on the camera angle looking right back at turn 11. We didn't see a thing. And then we see Costa's name vault up, and I'm like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, no. The door opened for him. I mean, he just got both of us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alright. That explains a bit. But yeah, no, your straight line speed. Even with DRS from the guys behind, they couldn't do a thing.
I probably wouldn't run that low again, so I just took a swing at the setup just to see how it goes, and yeah. Now I know.
Now you know.
Well, I mean, you made it work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. You drove around a low downforce setup, and even through the middle sector and final sector, you were still punching out good enough sector times to keep the guys behind. So
yeah, it was a lot more comfortable in the mediums.
Yeah, it seemed like that from
I imagine
what we've heard. So, but how was that period though, where you were out on the hard tire and everyone else around you was pitting onto the mediums? Like we like, oh, poof, what have I done?
Well, again, no race experience, no idea how powerful the undercut was, but I could literally see in the top, like in the top left, that they were ganging. So I was like, okay, well, hitting like one lap after is just going to be pointless. I'm just going to go as long as I can, and just try and have fresher tires at the end.
Yep.
And I came out probably where I thought I would, and so the safety car didn't really do too much. It just gave me all my ERS back, and so the restart was beautiful.
Yeah,
the straight line speed, the restart, I was like, oh, here we go.
Just you walk past everybody as if they were standing still.
Yeah, I nearly slowed into P2, but yeah, just didn't hold that. But yeah, it was a fun restart.
Lead from Costa.
Almost. It would have been pretty.
Costa had to come over hard, right, to cover you off.
Yeah, it would have been an audacious dive if I had to go for it, but it was good to get at least 2 of them.
But after a while, though, the pace really kicked in, and you moved back into the lead.
Yeah, I was just letting the leaders have their thing, because they both had 3 seconds at the time, I didn't. It was kind of like, well, I'm in no hurry, they can do their thing, and I wasn't meant to pass Marcus, but the car just kept on going.
It looked like you used a little bit of battery, and then you switched it off, and then you were closing in, and then you realised, oh, okay, I'm close enough. Switch the battery back on.
Yeah, it was honestly like that, yeah. Because I could see Ferrari flashing, so I was like, okay, well, they can have a go, and I'll just wait.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, I ended up getting a pen in the end, which is annoying, because I clipped it inside curb and then ran wide, so that was annoying, but... Yeah, especially if Vengeance gets his removed, but oh well.
You can blame me for that one because I was talking at just before that moment. I noticed you used a lot of the road on the outside of turn 12, entering the corner. Like you were right up against the white line. And then as soon as you were exiting the corner, you got a 3-second time penalty.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you clipped that little sort of orange curb on the inside. And
Yeah, unfortunately just sent me out there and I didn't back off enough, but oh well.
Oh, well. You still had the speed to hang on, though.
Yep, yeah.
No, and after that, just clean, consistent driving, it looked like. Just hitting your marks and getting it to the checker.
Yeah, just coming off that last corner, like, kind of like tight and straight, was pretty much all I really needed to do.
Yep.
And, like, turns 1, 2, and 3, just get off the third corner well enough, and I'm pretty much fine for the lap.
Fair enough. KD, have you got anything to ask our race winner?
Goodness me. Nah, nothing much else. It's just that you pretty much was everything was all explained to you there, but no, congratulations though on your return back to Elite BP.
Yep.
And also good to meet you for the very first time as well. Seemed like a really nice guy too as well.
Well, thank you.
Nah, no worries.
But yeah, what is your situation here in the Elite? Are you just
I'm reserved for the rest of the season.
So you will be. So you
I'll
like
probably
full-time.
do like at least I don't know, at least 3 other races.
All right. Will you be
okay.
here next week?
That's 50-50.
50-50. Well, I'll ask you anyway. If you were to race next week at Circuit Paul Ricard, how do you think you would fare around the circuit?
Well, unlike Mexico, I have done a race at France, and once again, I have a low wing setup that does work.
Fair enough.
Oh,
well, there are plenty of long straights at Paul Ricard to make
Yeah.
full use of the low downforce setup. So, no, next week is bound to be quite interesting. But for now, BP, congratulations on taking the win here in Mexico.
Yep,
Well
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy.
Yep, thank you for the night.
But KD, I think that'll wrap everything up.
Yeah, very much. It was another interesting race we had. It actually was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, it had its moments. It kept us entertained, kept watching, kept on looking at everyone getting time penalties, all those naughty buggers out on track getting time penalties. But,
I wouldn't be surprised if I become one of those.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if in all the tiers that I'm a part of, we're going to see a lot of time penalties because it's Mexico. It's just how it works. So, what are you going to do? But no, thank you again, KD, for joining alongside me.
Yeah, of course.
For this one, thank you very much. But, and just to answer your question, Broke Vegan, no, I don't believe Ferrari Pro would be leading the championship. There was only a 2-position difference between Ferrari Pro and Costa at the end of that race, so it's not a massive point swing. Costa leads by 38 after the last round. 46 after the last round. So with, let's see, what's the points difference? It's 6 points difference, so the gap would shrink from 46 to 40.
Of 40 points. I think it's a 45.
So it's only a small swing, but it's a swing that Ferrari Pro needed heading into the next rounds. So, because we're running out of rounds. Next round will be round 11, and it'll be sort of the final stage of our championship. So we only have 5 rounds to go. So, if Ferrari Pro wants to go back to back, he needs to get a move on. And Costa needs a bit of bad luck. But we've seen how Marcus has driven. He has driven superbly over the course of this season. He's going to be very tough to beat.
I know I won't be, because I'm far out of that.
Poor you over in the America Series, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's first season of Wheel, though. I can't complain too much as well.
Fair enough.
At the same time.
But I think with the race and everything else finally over, it is time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator, as always, is KD1997. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next week for round 11 of the championship at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.